We're going to create your first game. I call it Build a Snowman. So let's get started. I've already imported a font, that's Insert Media Element Font, and I created text called Build a Snowman. In addition, I made the elements that are going to make up my snowman. I created these elements using my paint window. So I went into paint and I created a snowball. Notice how I used a little bit of a gradient in this snowball. In order to create a gradient, you can change normal at the bottom of the window to gradient. And I simply drew a filled circle, picking my colors. I also drew a hat with my paintbrush. Remember that you can select your paintbrush by going to the down arrow, going into settings, and picking the paintbrush that you want to use. I used just a couple little circles to make the hat. I used another circular paintbrush to make the carrot nose. And I used this type of a paintbrush to make my stick, which is going to be an arm. I, in addition, made a piece of coal. So go ahead and create all of the elements that you want to use in your movie. If you wanted to, you could also find these graphics online and import them into your cast. So let's get started. I'm going to build my scene. Now remember, because I'm making interactive elements and I'm not really doing any animation, instead of bringing in sprites that are 30 frames long, I want them to come in at 5 frames long. To do that, I can go to Edit, Preferences, Sprite. When I do that, under Span Duration, I can change the 30 to 5. That works better for me. Okay. Let's drag our elements to the stage. So there is my title. Whoops, let's get it back into frame 1. And then I'm going to put in a snowball, but I'm going to want 3 of these because my snowman will be built with 3. 1 hat, 1 carrot nose, 2 arms. Oops, grabbed the wrong thing there. And I want enough pieces of coal to make his smile and his 3 buttons. So I'm going to go to 1, 2, 3 for the body. And I think I could use 5 for the smile. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, shortcut, I'm going to change the ink to all of these elements at once. Snowballs, I'm going to wait because I'm going to use a different ink there. So let me select my snowballs first, hold the Shift key down. I want those not to be copy, but to be matte. Because I have white in there, I want you to be able to see that white. Okay. In addition, now, I'm going to select my other elements. So here's my Build a Snowman, hold the Shift key, take my pieces of coal, my arm, my carrot nose, and my hat. Let's make that background transparent. So I have all my elements of my snowman. Oops, my snowball got cut off. That's okay. Whoops, forgot this one. Background transparent. Now, to build my snowman, I want to make scenes. I also want to have a scene that says, "Congratulations, you built a great snowman." So let's go and create our second scene. I'm going to go to my text cast window. Be sure that you use that imported font. That sounds nice. Give some positive reinforcement. So when they're done, they're going to see a congratulations scene. And then we're going to add something else to this scene as well. I'll wait and tell you about that later. Okay. Let's put that beginning in frame 10. Change my ink to background transparent. All right, since I'm dealing with multiple scenes, I'm going to use markers to define each scene. Markers go in the marker bar. The markers go at the beginning of the scene. So let me click in frame 1, and I'm just going to call this begin. And then put another marker at the beginning of the second scene, and I'll put this as congrats. So I'm giving my markers a name. In addition, we don't want the movie to play through. We want to hold at the end of our scene. So we use that behavior called hold on current frame. Hold on current frame is located in our navigation library. So go to navigation. Let's scroll down. There it is, hold on current frame. Drag and drop that in the script channel at the end of the scene. Now that the hold on current frame behavior is located in your cast, drag the hold on current frame at the end of your congrats scene. So now when I rewind and play my movie holds. We're going to need a button, so let's review how to create a button. We're going to go down to the bottom in channel 17, frame 1. My button is located in my tools. Remember that you must change your classic to classic from default, because this is an old-time tool. It's been around forever, so it's a classic. Go down to your push button tool, and let's draw a button. And I'm going to write click when done. Now this font is really big, so what I want to do is I'm going to double click so I see my slashes. This way I can change the content and format of my button. I'm going to go to my text inspector. Control T opens it up, or just hit that down arrow. Sorry for the bell. Let's go now, and I'm going to use my imported font. Look for the star. I'm going to change my text color to a rich burgundy. Remember, we don't want to use the classic red because it's hard to read. It hurts the eyes. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to leave my background white. That works for me. Let me drag my button, and I'm going to put it in the bottom right-hand corner. You could stick it wherever you want. Leave some space at the top because we're going to add some additional directions. Now, my button is in scene 1. Anytime I have an interactive element, I want to use my rollover cursor change. So I need to go to my library and get my rollover cursor change behavior. So back to the library, you can activate it by clicking on the library palette up in your menu. This time I'm going to navigate over to Animation Interactive. Animation Interactive. Look for the rollover cursor change. There it is. Let's drag it onto my button. I'll accept the default. I'll take the finger. Now, we're going to let the user move these elements around on the stage. We're going to let them also resize and rotate. They're all interactive. So since this behavior is located in our cast, let's add them to all the other interactive elements. And we can do that very easily by using the Shift key and dragging and dropping. So in my score, I notice my title, that's not interactive, so I don't need to select that one. But my first snowball, I do. Click on the snowball in channel 2. Let me just mention at this point that there's a reason why the snowballs are located in 2, 3, and 4. I want to be able to put the buttons on top of the snowball. Remember that channel 1 is the furthest back when we talk about our layering. So putting the snowball in 2, 3, and 4 is important. So I would be able to see the hat on top of the snowball, and I would be able to see the nose on top of the snowball, as well as the arms and the pieces of coal. All right, back to our score. Channel 2 is our first sprite. Click that. Scroll down to the bottom. We have all these pieces of coal. Hold the Shift key down. Click the last item. Notice how you've selected all of your elements. Let's drag rollover cursor change onto these elements. I'll accept the finger, but notice you do have a lot of other options built in. Hit OK. You know what? Maybe I might use my hand. Let's get the hand. Yeah, I'll change it up a bit. Hit OK. So now, when I click on any of these elements in my score, and I go to my behavior inspector, I see the behavior that is on top of my sprite. If I select my sprite and look at the bottom, see the little cogwheel? That also tells you the behaviors that are attached to your sprite. All right, I have my rollover cursor change, but my button still doesn't go anywhere. So let's now look for a jump to marker. We want to go to congrats. That behavior is stored in my controls. So I'm going to navigate to controls, and I'm going to look for my jump to marker. There it is. I'm going to drag and drop it onto my button. Where do I want to go? I want to go to my congrats scene. It's going to be a go-to button. And at this point, we're not using a back button, but you can leave that checked. Hit OK. So let's test our movie. Notice how when I bring my cursor over the other elements, I see my hand. When I bring my cursor over my button and click, ta-da, it works. Let's stop our movie and go back to our first scene. We'll create the back button a little bit later. Let's rewind. And now we want to make these items draggable. Now, I'm going to use two separate behaviors. One behavior is called draggable. That means that the user will be able to move and drag the object anywhere they want, but you cannot change the object. The other is move, rotate, and scale. Move, rotate, and scale will allow you to drag, but in addition, it will allow you to rotate the object and change its size. Let's do the draggable first. I'm going to place the draggable behavior on all of my pieces of coal. I see that my piece of coal is cast member 7, and I see my cast member 7 in my score. So let's highlight all of my cast members, and let's find that draggable behavior. Draggable is located in my animation interactive. Let's scroll down, and it is alphabetized. So look for the word draggable. There it is. Drag and drop it onto the elements in the score or on the stage, your choice. I find it easier for this because the coal is so small to bring it to the score. Now you have a question. Do you want to constrain these elements to the stage? What that means is that the user who plays the game would not be able to take the pieces of coal and throw them off the stage. If you want them to be able to throw them off the stage, you can uncheck this box. I'm going to constrain it to the stage. Hit OK. Let's play our movie and test it. Can I drag my coal? Yes, I can. Can I throw it off the stage? No, I can't. Everything is working fine. Stop. When you rewind your movie, notice that all of your elements go back to where you had them set the first time. Now let's make our snowballs our arms, our sticks, our carrot nose, and our hat move, rotate, and scale. That is also located in Animation Interactive. So there it is. Scroll down. If you bring your cursor over, you get a description of what this allows you to do. Let's click and drag it. Oops, I just did it on the one, but I'll show it to you and then we'll apply it to the others. Notice the pop-up window appears. I'm going to accept the defaults, but please know you could determine which key would rotate the sprite. In this case, it's Shift. You can determine which key would scale the sprite. In this case, it's the space bar, and all they do is use the word space. I'll accept the default. Scale means make bigger or smaller. Hit OK. Let me just test this one so you can see it. Here is my hat. Hold the space bar. Look at this. I can make it big or small. Hold the Shift key. Notice how I can rotate. Let's stop and rewind our movie. Let's now apply it to the other elements in our movie. I'm going to hold the Shift key down. Here are my snowballs. Here is my hat. It's already got it, so I don't really need that one. So I'm going to just hit the Control key to deselect. Here's my, whoops, hold the wrong key. Let's Control to get rid of that. Now, here is my carrot nose, and I have my arms. Take, move, rotate, and scale, and drag and drop it onto these elements. Hit OK. So notice now, you can build a snowman. I can make that snowball a little bit bigger. I can move my elements. I can rotate my elements. And I can even play and determine which ones go on top. I can put in my hat. And build my snowman. Go ahead and test your movie. Isn't this fun? This always reminds me of color forms when I was a kid. If I want more pieces of coal, I can simply drag out more coal for the beginning. Look at that. I need eyes. I've got 3. I need 2 more pieces of coal. So I'm going to stop my movie, rewind, and let me add 2 more pieces of coal. 1, 2. Remember what we did? Change our ink. Add the behavior draggable. Add the rollover cursor change. And I'll accept the hand. You've just made your first movie. But look that the user doesn't know that they can rotate and scale. So let's provide directions to them at the top of your movie. It's important to provide directions when you're making a game. So, to our text tool, I'm going to make my text obviously much smaller. And let's provide instructions. All right. Simply drag the snowman elements and build a snowman. To rotate, use the Shift key. To scale, use the space bar. Use your own words, but you want to make sure that you can tell them how they can rotate and scale. If scale is a difficult word, you can say make bigger and smaller. Close that out. Let's drag our text to the top. Change our ink. So far, so good. Let's save our movie. You can call this Snowman and save it in your interactive folder. So you've just created a basic snowman game. Now, let's make it a little bit nicer. They're building their snowman. Don't you want to give them some positive feedback in the second scene? Let's import a sound. File, import, and I'm going to navigate to our share folder. And in our share folder, we have waves. So I'm going to navigate to our waves folder. Director loves wave formats. And I'm going to go down to people because I want to use an applause. Give them some positive reinforcement. So I have these 3 applause sounds. Remember, if you want to listen to them, you can just right-click and play. That gets cut off a little. Let's try this one. Sounds good to me. So I'm going to add that and import that into my cast. Let's put it up onto the stage. So let's put it in our sound channel. You could use 1 or 2. And now, when I play and hit my button, I'm hearing some nice sound. Let's work on this second scene. We know we need a button to go back so they can play again. Let's get that in there. Do you remember how to make a button? Classic tools, push button, draw it. It's going to remember the format of the button you created in the scene 1. So we're just going to keep that format and say, play again. When you create buttons, buttons should be placed in the similar location in every scene. It makes for easier navigation. Let's add our rollover cursor change onto the button. It's in your cast, so don't go to the library again. I'll take the finger. We also want to jump to marker. Drag and drop your jump to marker. Where do we want to go? To the beginning and hit OK. Test your movie. Click. There's my rollover. It works. We're going back to the second scene, and now what we're going to do is add something else, another piece of text that's going to hyperlink to a website that would have other games that your user may want to play. So I've already gone to a site. You go ahead, go take a look at a site you would like to have them go to. There's a North Pole site, which is fun. I found this website that is a Dress Up Lady Gaga, which is similar to using the same elements but in Flash. I'm going to highlight my URL and I'm going to copy that. Let's go back and now create another text cast member that will work as the link in our game. Go to my text cast member and I'm going to say, click here to play some online games. Now, you can use any terminology that you want that relates to the website that you would like them to go to. I'm going to make this bold. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to close that out. Let me now add that to my scene. Let me change my ink. And I'm going to go to my text inspector. The reason why I'm going to my text inspector is notice at the bottom of the text inspector, here is a link. You can click on this text inspector. Let's highlight our text. Make sure that I have all of the text selected. and paste your hyperlink inside the link window in the text inspector. Hit the enter key. Notice that you're going to see an underline on your text. All right, so now it's a hyperlink, but it's still not going to work. There's one more thing we have to add to this game, and it's a behavior. So back to the behavior, to the library, and this time I'm going to text. And in text, scroll down. Notice that I have hypertext display status, hypertext general. Hypertext go to marker. We want hypertext general. This behavior is put on text cast members and it will process the URL. So I'm going to drag and drop that onto my game. Do you want to use it as a hyperlink? Hit OK. Now, when we play our movie, they can build their snowman. They click when done. It gives them positive reinforcement, and ta-da, it jumps to the website. Isn't that fun? Now, you have just created a snowman movie. Part 2 of this is to create a custom cursor and an animated custom cursor. I will create that in a separate video. Hope you liked your first game.